And welcome back to the F65 YouTube channel. We're here to run down with all the action that happened on the continent in the Champions League. But wait a minute, I'm getting a note from our producers. We are not that kind of show. We are here to talk to you about the F65 challenge, the game within the game within the game. Sorry for if you were expecting something different. That's just not the type of show we are. Nick, how you doing?
I'm just reeling from that introduction here. The pageantry of the F65 challenge is unmatched now that we're two matches in, our first game break in between match days here. And obviously we're bringing the excitement, we're bringing the energy, and we're checking in on the action.
Yeah, and before we do that, to steal another bit from a different podcast, what are you drinking here, Nick? Like I'm seeing a clear liquid. I'm not used to you seeing. I'm not used to seeing you drink clear liquids.
A buddy of mine got me into this gin called Monkey 47,
Mm.
and it is delicious. So I've got an entire 20 ounces of Monkey 47 gin here, and we're going to see how much of it I can get through before the end of this video.
All right. Well, we've got our work cut out for us. I am going with a Drecker Little Maniacs. Never tried it before, so we'll see how. It's an IPA. We'll see how this goes. Drecker usually doesn't steer me wrong. But yeah, as we're here to get to, as what we're here to talk about, let's check in on the group standings real quick. Why don't we? So, as you can now see on your screen, we've got Group A standings up top, Group B standings. We've got a couple undefeated teams. What stands out to you when we look at Group A, if anything?
Group A, I'm going to say it's that tight middle that sticks out to me. Gotta love a nice tight middle.
Mm.
Bunch of teams, one win, one loss, and then there you can see. I mean, Adam Zingsheim, right? That's hard to do. The 1 point differential after two game weeks. So I think that sticks out to me on the early goings, right? Obviously, Ross is not out of anything yet. Two losses doesn't damn him, but it does put a lot of pressure here on the next game break here in game weeks 8 and 9.
Yeah, I think he had one of his better weeks, just overall. So hopefully he can continue that upward mobility throughout the standings, as long as it's not against me, sitting there with a nice. We have a relatively decent points for. We've obviously been fortunate to have a pretty low points against. Only Bayern Munich, I think, have a better point differential. Than this 49 points we're seeing based on their real life activity in game week one. But yeah, so then if we just scroll down here to Group B, wow, we've got a tight one at the top between yourself and Aiden. 2 points separate on point differential. I wasn't really sure what to expect about point diffs, but two is pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, and I think while that's probably the headliner of this group is how tight it is between 8 and 9. I don't know. We'll check the schedule when we match up, but obviously a lot can change before then. But to me, the real surprise here is Jacob Waltz threw up a 90 spot last week to grab the $4 prize and really put a beating on. Who did he play last week? I forget. On Adam Carlson, Bieber, as we affectionately refer to him. So dropping 90 on somebody is always fun.
And Bieber probably not feeling too good about that. But when you got 90 thrown up against you and you're sitting with a minus 19, things could probably be sitting a lot worse for Mr. Carlson there in fourth.
Yeah, and I think the other, I'm not going to say it's a headliner because it's maybe a little bit more of a low liner, right, is poor Michael Bogert, who came out of the gates like a demon this year. First place in the league before the challenge started, has really hit a dry patch here in his first two matches. He's slid all the way from first to third in the league, and he's 0-2 here in the challenge with a pretty black eye, if you will, pretty big black eye of a minus 53 here. So hopefully he can turn that around. I haven't checked wild card status on him, but maybe put the defibrillator on there, hit the old wild card button, shuffle it up, and see if he can't capture some of that early mojo again.
Yeah, I have a feeling that all of us who captain Holland were pretty unhappy with his return. Myself, I'm usually a set it and forget it type of guy with Holland, but thank God I had some good bench points in Cole Palmer, obviously coming in the clutch for me. But instead of looking toward the past, let's look toward the future. As we're gonna bring up, you know what? I wish I had all of this preloaded and ready to go, but so that's on me. But yeah, here we go. We're looking at match day 3, game week 8 schedule. Starting off the top, I've got Jamie Newland versus Jimmy, Ross versus Adam. And just kind of looking at the standings, like we're only 2 days or 2 match weeks into this. Everything is up for grabs. So no one's out of it. Obviously, I think we're going to see some separation here, maybe possibly develop between the matchup of myself and Jamie, and then Newland and Jimmy. It seems like the top versus the meaty middle right there, and then going down to Group B. You just gave some great advice, I think, to Bogart, and he plays you this not this upcoming EPL week, but the following, the 19th of October to 2024. And then Aiden versus Bieber. So Bieber probably hoping Aiden comes a little back down to earth. But, he's flying high like Brighton and those Seagulls. And then on the bottom, we've got Jacob and Tyler kind of bringing up the rear there. What stands out to you looking at this match day 3, game week 8 schedule?
Yeah, I think the headliner here is actually going to be happening in Group A, and you mentioned a couple separation games, but really I think it's the match between Newland and Jimmy. Both of them are 1-1, right? And so one of them's going to win, one of them's going to lose. We haven't had any draws yet. I think match day 1 we had 3 people score 69 points, but none of them played each other, so that was unfortunate from a 69 perspective. This is F65, so let's not get ahead of ourselves.
And just remember, you can get a bonus 4 points if you hit 65 points. I'm making this up. You can't hold me yet. I have to hold you to it now because it's in the video, which means it's out there. So if anyone can hit that lucky 65, you'll get 69, and that's just nice for everyone.
But I do think, and I don't have a schedule made up for match day 4, but Newland plays Ross. So if Newland can beat Jimmy, then he's playing somebody that's, maybe looking a little bit of the weaker sides, right? Going up against maybe a Dynamo Zagreb type player or type, club. If Newland can get 2 wins on the bounce, then he's looking pretty good. But man, if he trips up to Jimmy, then Jimmy's got yourself in week 4, so Jimmy's got it pretty tough here. So
Ross, if you're watching, which I know you are, because you wouldn't leave us hanging like this, take a look at Newland's roster. Let's see if we can get a draw on the board here. Like, let's just copy that sucker 1 for 1 and see what happens.
Yeah, but I think that's probably the headlining game of Group A. Down at Group B, I'm gonna be a little not impartial. I'm gonna be biased here. I'm gonna say the match between Bogart and myself, as you mentioned, right? If Bogart can beat me and kind of turn his little mini slump around, he's not only looking to get some momentum here in the challenge, but then he's right back up near the top of the standings in the league. So big match for him coming up in FPL game week 8, match day 3 for the challenge.
All right, and just kind of, let's take a look at the F65 challenge through, the website, not our super.
Oh, the F65 league.
The league, yeah, sorry, the league, not the cup or the challenge. I'll one day get the nomenclature right. So, as you can see here, the league was last updated local time of 5 p.m. on Monday. Not a great week for you, putting up only 49 points, but obviously you got that lead from other weeks. So you could, you can still absorb another stinker or two to keep that top spot. Newland jumping all the way up to second. Bogart, yeah, just on that free fall, 34 points. You don't love to see that. Jimmy and I have just, it feels like, been playing leapfrog between 4 and 5. Aiden coming up with a hot 68, almost a nice number, not quite. Then just kind of rounding out the table, we got Jamie, Jacob, Adam, another Adam. I'll leave it to our gracious and wonderful listeners to figure out what Adam that I'm talking about there, and then Tyler and Ross bringing up the rear. Ross with a 51, that feels like a season high. Don't fact check me on that. I'm. What stands out to you while I consider hitting this report offensive name and just seeing if I can get Newland in trouble here?
Yeah, I think one of the things that sticks out to me is, a lot of times early in the season, you see some of these arrows, and I'm happy to see so many of the green and red arrows here early on as people kind of jostle back and forth. Obviously, as we get further into the season, right, a big week might not do anything for an arrow for somebody, but I really enjoy the back and forth here early on. I think technically, right, Bogart is in third, but he is tied on overall points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy had that big 62 and made it up, but they're tied at 395, just 2 back of Newland. The other thing that I think this specific game week pointed out, you can almost look down the line and see who had Holland captained, right?
Yeah, it does feel
So
like that way.
basically anybody with 60 points or more probably didn't have Holland captained. And that to me has been one of the early stories of the season, right? I think on the last video we broke down who had captained where, and it was pretty much just over half of the league was on Holland. And so yeah, it's fun to see that back and forth.
Well said. Yeah, everyone loves to see that red and green. Those lights popping up reminds me of Christmas. We're not too far away from Boxing Day. That's kind of weird to think about. We're already in October. Soon, the Boxing Day games will be here before you know it, and hopefully everyone is going to have a green arrow. Which I guess isn't possible now that I'm talking
Nope,
about this out
everybody's
loud.
going up. Everybody's going up. But yeah, I mean, I think we're off to a good start here with the challenge. Obviously, we'll be back after the next 2 game weeks, and we'll check in. So if you haven't picked up on it, the next match day in the challenge is game week 8, and that will be followed immediately in game week 9 with match day 4 before another break, and we will check in after the next 2 games with the F65 league.
Yep. And Nick, I know you put out a call to the league about any questions they might have, and so I'm going to give you a minute to search through your big bag of mail while I make a plea to our great listeners. Tell one friend about the F65 challenge. Tell one friend. Get them to look at our beautiful production that we have on this. Let's get these views up. Let's get some ad revenue coming in. Let's get some, and one person, if you tell one person and they join and that person tells one friend, the sky's the limit for this league. How's that bag of mail looking over there?
Yeah, and honestly, this couldn't have been framed any better, Brooks. The one question we got came from an anonymous source here, and it says, "Are significant others allowed to join the league?" I don't know, Brooks. Are they?
I don't know, because I don't have a significant other, Nick. So why don't you tell me, as the married man of this show, are they
Well, I
allowed?
can tell you that my wife has no desire to, but if you have a spouse or significant other, arms are wide open here. We're a loving community. Maybe not like that. There's no white rocks in front of our house, but yeah, we're a
Yeah,
big open community, big happy family, and the more the merrier.
yeah. As the great band Creed once said, "With arms wide open." Yeah. Again, tell a friend, tell your spouse, tell your situationship if that's what you got going on in your life. Get them in. Let's make this some big money. Let's make this a big money league.
Next year, I want to have 20 people in this league.
20
Let's
people.
let's dream big,
Let's
Brooks.
dream big.
20 people.
Let's dream big. You got what is it? You got to shoot for the moon if you and if you miss, you'll end up on the stars. Which obviously, if you know anything about astronomy, that's not how that works. But yeah, let's dream big there. That's all we've got today for you folks. So stay tuned. Keep setting your lineups. Maybe don't wild card Holland the way things are going. I'm not running your team. Do whatever you want. Thanks for watching.